Halloween, down here in the bayou. It ain't about candy and costumes, Shay. Forget the plastic spiders and store-bought ghosts. Our Halloweens are heavier. This time of year, when the nights get longer and a chill rolls in off the water, it's about lightin' candles. Not for spookiness, but for the ones who ain't quite crossed over yet. The ones who linger. Down by Bayou Goula, the air gets thick. You can feel it cling to your skin like humidity and something else. Something ancient. And if you stand real still and just listen, really listen, past the frogs and the insects, you'll hear her. A low, hummin' sound, carried on the breeze through the cypress trees. That's her. They call her the Witch of Bayou Goula. Now, before you get an image of some cackling crone on a broomstick, you gotta understand our history. Folks who remember the stories from their grandparents say she wasn't always a witch. She was a healer, a traiteur, a woman whose hands knew the secrets of herbs and whose words were prayers that could soothe a fever or mend a broken heart. She used poultices, charms, and faith to care for her people. She was respected, loved even. But the swamp, it gives and it takes. The great Mississippi flood of 1927. It took everything from so many. It swallowed homes, land, and lives without a second thought. And it took her husband. One day he was there, and the next he was gone, vanished into the churning, muddy water. Something in her broke that day. Grief can drive a person to do strange things, and her grief drove her into the heart of the swamp. She walked right into that cypress maze, and for a long time, nobody saw her again. When she finally emerged, she wasn't the same woman. The light in her eyes had been replaced by something wilder, something that had seen the other side of sorrow. People whispered that she'd started talking to the wind, listening to whispers in the rustling leaves. They'd see her wading through the murky water at dusk, gathering things most folks would avoid. She'd be making these little charms. Gris-gris, they called them, woven from snake bones, Spanish moss, and raven feathers. They weren't for healing anymore. They were for something else. For remembering. And every October, as the anniversary of the flood approached, she'd do this one ritual. She'd take a hollowed-out gourd, place a tallow candle inside, and set it afloat on the dark water of the bayou. One for every soul lost to the flood. A floating, flickering graveyard on the water. Of course, a story like that is pure temptation for kids. Back in the day, on Halloween night, it was a dare. Who was brave enough to sneak down to Bayou Goula and try to see the lights? To try and catch a glimpse of the witch herself? Most would get spooked by a snapping twig or the hoot of an owl and run back home, laughing and terrified. But one boy, let's call him Thibodeau, he was braver, or maybe just more foolish than the rest. He was braver, or maybe just more foolish than the rest. He swore he stayed hidden in the reeds until the moon was high and the air was dead still. And he saw her. He said her shadow crossed the water first, impossibly tall and thin, stretched out by the moonlight. He said her hair hung down like thick strands of Spanish moss, and her eyes. He swore her eyes glowed with an orange light like the embers of a dying fire, or the heart of a jack-o'-lantern. He watched as she set a single candle afloat, and its flame seemed to burn brighter than any normal flame could. It bobbed on the water, a lone star in the darkness. But the creepy part, Thibodeau said as he crept away, back towards the safety of his house, he felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. He looked back, and that little flame on the bayou, it seemed to be following him. Not on the water, but in his vision. He'd blink, and he'd still see it. He made it home, heart pounding, and slammed the door shut. But the story doesn't end there. For a whole week after that night, his family's house was filled with a strange, haunting smell. It was the smell of swamp water, of mud and decay, but mixed with the sweet, cloying scent of funeral roses. It clung to the curtains, the furniture, everything, a reminder that he had trespassed, that he had seen something not meant for his eyes. He never went back to the bayou on Halloween again. It's not just the kids who have stories. The old hunters and trappers, The men who know the swamp better than their own backyard. They know the rules. They'll tell you that sometimes, when you're out on the water late at night, a strange stillness will fall. The cicadas will go quiet. The frogs will stop their singing. The whole world just holds its breath. That's when you know she's close. And if you're real quiet, you'll hear her voice. It's not a shout, not a scream. It's a whisper that seems to come from everywhere at once, drifting through the dark on a wind you can't feel. Stay out my water. It's a warning. Simple, clear, and you'd better listen. The old-timers swear that if you ignore that whisper, if you push your luck and keep poling your pirogue deeper into her territory, something strange will happen. Your boat will just stop, and then it will start to turn. Slowly, in a perfect circle. No wind, no current can explain it. You can paddle as hard as you want in the other direction, but you'll just keep turning, trapped in one spot until the first light of dawn breaks the spell. All the while, you'll feel that whisper chasing you, a fog you can't see but can feel right in your bones. She's not trying to hurt you. She's just making you stay put, protecting her space, her memories. So now, you see, Halloween around here has a different meaning. On All Hallows' Eve, you'll see jack-o'-lanterns on just about every porch and pier that faces Bayou Goula. But they aren't just for decoration. They're a form of protection, a sign of respect. The tradition says that if you see her candle, that lonesome little flame, drifting on the current towards your part of the shore, you're supposed to light your own lantern and place it in the window, facing her. It's not an act of defiance, not a way to scare her off. It's a gesture of understanding, a light to answer her light, a way of telling her that you see her, you acknowledge her grief, and you're helping to guide her lost loved ones, and maybe her own lost soul, home. It's a quiet, shared vigil between the living and the lingering dead. Some say she's an evil spirit, a malevolent force haunting the swamp. Others say she's a guardian, a heartbroken mother figure still watching over what's left of her people, protecting the sacred ground where they were lost. Maybe she's both. Maybe she's neither. The swamp keeps its secrets well. But either way, if you find yourself near Bayou Goula when the veil is thin on Halloween night, a word of advice. Don't mock the story. Don't laugh at the whispers. Just show some respect. If you feel that chill in the air, just nod your head towards the water and say, quiet like, bonsoir, Maman Goula. Good evening, Mother Goula. And then go home and keep your light burning bright until sunrise. This is Rougarou Radio, keeping your lantern lit in the dark heart of the bayou. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the marsh. Stay safe out there.